All right. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. It's been a while. Yeah, welcome in. We have Speak Your Mind M in here. We have Bugs in here. Yo, yo. I hope this is working. Let me double check over on YouTube. We have speaker. Yup, looks like things are working. So there's a lot to talk about. Again, it's been like 3 weeks since I've done a live stream. Some cool updates, got some cool shields. You can see one of them in the background over here. I might bring it up closer in a bit, but we'll let the room populate for a bit. How are you guys doing today? Happy Memorial Day, everyone. And I know it's kind of late for some of you in the world, relatively not too late for me, but I thought, you know what, it's Memorial Day, and yeah, it's morning for some, like for Bit Finesse, and why not keep you guys company on this holiday? Working, I was just gonna get some sleep. Well, you know what, you can watch the replay. All right, so let me check my notes. Yeah, like the stream, y'all. Bear market, what's new, right? To the stream, $20,000 Bitcoin incoming, maybe $800 Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin. That'd be bad. $800 Ethereum incoming, maybe. We could dive into the charts a little bit. As of late, been doing some dunking on the haters on Twitter, and you guys have helped me. Just fashionably so, right? You don't want to go overboard. Definitely don't want to dogpile. Not necessarily. $20K Bitcoin, where would that put Hex? Depends. Thanks and hello from a plane on its way to Amsterdam. Well, safe travels to you. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's always a bull market somewhere, right? G has been going ham on Twitter. Yeah, Children of the Grave knows what's up. All right. Yeah, the Twitter's been growing. Twitter's been crushing. I've been putting on like 25 followers a day on there, but the YouTube is kind of stalled out, and that's probably a function of the content output. And I also switched the camera angle. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I thought it fit a little better because I get to see more of my screen. I think this is kind of a little something different. Let me know how you like it. But yeah, let's get to some charts. If you guys are down, I'm down. Let's make it a little bigger, yeah? Maybe something like that. Or like that. How about that? That's a little better. That's fine. Okay. So Bitcoin 31K, Ethereum 2000. Sure, that's all fine and dandy until you actually look at the chart. Now, obviously everyone's calling for the 200-week MA on Bitcoin. You could also say, well, we could go to the 300-week MA or, some version of 200 EMA or 300 EMA, and you get this sort of ladder of where Bitcoin could potentially fall down to 21K if it hits the 200-week moving averages, or down to 16K if it hits the 300-week moving average. So I still think it can fall, because historically speaking, every time it has fallen beneath this 100 MA, it's gone to either the yellow or the orange curve. Over here, it hit the yellow, then the orange and the red. Here it hit yellow, orange, red. Here it's hit yellow. So why not orange and one of these red? It's very, very simple pattern analysis. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed in the markets because they are to some degree random. But if we look at Ethereum, we can look at a similar kind of bearish scenario where when we broke our 100 MA, right, you see a very, very similar formation where you have your peak and then your dead cat bounce. Over here we had, whether you call this first peak your peak or the second peak your peak, nonetheless, we did have a dead cat bounce here. And then once that was revealed to be a dead cat bounce by its lack of follow through, it fell through the 100 MA. Again, back here, look what happened in 2018. Lack of follow through, revealing it's a dead cat bounce, and then not another bounce, crash through the 100-week moving average. And then from there, what happened is arguably the most important part. Ethereum proceeded to fall another 73% over the course of the next 4 months, 75% roughly. So perhaps this was led by the onslaught of ICOs that raised Ethereum, just dumping their Ethereum throughout, potentially. This was quite the macro run on Ethereum as well. You could argue it was a whole like macro 5-wave cycle, so it did need some sort of a reset. But you could argue the same with this recent cycle. It was a whole 5-wave cycle, and we might need another reset, right? It has been a while since 2018, guys. Like, I've been around for a minute to have gone through this bear market, to feel it, to see it, to now see the technicals behind what I went through at the time in a different light, right? Obviously a little more logical now than when you're going through it. But if we were to see a 75% dip from that level, right? And we'll make the argument in a little bit of if it doesn't dip as much because of a bunch of reasons. But 543, I don't think it necessarily needs to go to $543, but it could fall to, for example, 50% from here could put it at $1,000, or 67% from here could put it at, well, what would 800 be actually? It would be about a 63% dip. So the point being, it could fall more, right? It doesn't look good. Like, if you notice when we had the cross, like, there's just a whole bunch of pattern analysis you can do to realize there's still a long way to go. I mean, maybe we don't fall 95%, but if we do our typical 85%, that puts us at about $717 or so. That's where I got the $800 target, because you always want to set your bids a little above what you think it's going to hit, just in case, so it fills. But I don't know. I think there are assets that might run up harder than Ethereum this next cycle, right? I do think Pulse will be the layer one that outperforms all of the layer ones. I think it'll be the best performing layer one in the next macro bull cycle of crypto, whether it's an independent bull cycle that the Pulse ecosystem has on its own, or whether it's accompanied by the liquidity of the rest of crypto, which arguably is a little more likely. Then it would be amazing to see Pulse outperform things like Ethereum. But my point being, I think Ethereum does have potential downside risk. Not saying it's going to go there, right? History doesn't always repeat necessarily, but things in retrospect seem obvious, like, oh, it did it last time, but people just don't believe it can go back there because of whatever reason of the times. Like this time it might be, oh, because it can't fall beneath the prior all-time high. Well, guess what? We're pretty damn close. Prior all-time high was 1590. We're already flirting with 1700 and 1701. Like, yeah, actually the lowest we've dipped is 1700. It's going to be holding this floor, but as we know, the more times a level is tested, the more likely it is to break. So this sort of 1700 level, it could break, right? And it could lead to a waterfall if it does, putting us beneath this prior all-time high, and leading to, there is support at around 800, right? It is this prior dead cat bounce peak. There is some support here. Another huge reason for the 800 level, I'm just now remembering, is the yearly chart. People don't necessarily look at yearly charts. And here we go. Maybe now it's obvious, but you see candle bodies on Ethereum on the yearly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 taps here at the $745 level or so. So in retrospect, it might be obvious. Look at this yearly candle respected really nicely at around $130 on these 3 candles to signify a bottom. So, it would just make a lot of sense to go back to 750. And then, hey, I would get very, very bullish after that. For the most part, I would say if you want a safe asset to accumulate, potentially, hopefully the fee market has gone down. Even if not, it could still be a profitable game for whales to play. But yeah, I do think there is downside risk, downside potential in both Ethereum, both Bitcoin, and yes, even Hex. Let me get to the chat real quick because I've been gone back to you guys in a minute. And yeah, I'll touch on LookIntoHex, I'll touch on Hex, I'll touch on Mintra. We'll talk about it all. Will Mintra have meta land available? Not sure how to answer that. If it's an NFT format, probably. What's up from Central Illinois? What's up? Never been to Illinois. We're gonna wick with to 16K with a wick to we're going to 16K with a wick to 11K. Says extra set. Nice. Maybe. I mean, yeah, the 16K would make sense given that 300-day MA. And then the wick to 11K, I mean, I could see it because then you would have your 85% dip, right? And you see wicks on exchanges with centralized order books. I mean, you see it on dexes too. You see it on low liquidity, or you see it on just massive, massive moves that just eat through liquidity, basically. Basically, when the liquidity can't sustain the move as much, then that's when you see wicks. But yeah, we could go down that low. Good to see you. Hi, everyone. What's up? Hex is dying because of you and Kareem's absence. I sure hope not, man. I mean, I took what 3 weeks off. Like, I don't know if you could tell. I'm doing pretty okay. I'm happier, a little just like focusing on real life, man. Like you can't always be on, in the metaverse, so to speak. But yeah, I come back. I like to come back stronger, smarter, having built more to just give more, to bring more. Like, anyways, not getting too philosophical there. He's going to 333. That's low, man. I mean, maybe. Like it's so. See, that's the thing. Like I don't want to say I know. I think ETH is going lower. ETH did outperform Bitcoin and had a slightly different cycle than Hex. So last cycle, it wasn't a bad play just for some like portfolio reallocations to have like 70, 80, arguably a little more percent Hex, and then maybe like a small percentage Ethereum might have actually been a good play. And I'll get into the kind of the cycles and how they played with each other last cycle to maybe give some insight into how they'll play with each other next cycle. But next cycle, we won't only have just Ethereum and Hex. We'll have Ethereum Hex. We'll have Ethereum ERC20 Hex. We'll have Pulse and PRC20 Hex to think about in this sort of framework. But I think you could probably apply this framework with the whole built on it to native kind of relationship, if that makes sense. Like the Hex to Ethereum relationship is similar to the Ethereum to Bitcoin relationship, even if Ethereum isn't built on Bitcoin. It's sort of a leverage play on it with a slightly offset cycle because of the liquidity bonding and just kind of like cycle psychology. Man, I'm going deep with this. You'll see what I'm talking about when I pull up the chart. Richard, I don't know who that is. Is Ballet Brandon here? Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. And it was fun seeing you in Vegas. That was a good time. You and Kyler. And everyone, man. It was such a fun time. It's important to take a break and focus on what's important in physical life versus constantly focus on digital life. Good point. Yes, sir. Bitcoin is correlated to the stock market. Yeah, like you have geopolitical BS, and obviously, and then that leads into legacy markets, and that leads into to lower liquidity markets. They feel the effects a little more, so they're kind of a leverage play on it. That's why Bitcoin is correlated to the stock market. I agree, but has had historically greater gains and like bigger dips. So. And then you see Ethereum be kind of a leverage play on Bitcoin, kind of what I was getting at earlier, and then the Hex kind of be a leverage play on Ethereum and so on. So you get these increasing levels of risk reward profiles, so to speak. That's how I see it. I've been working 5 to 6 days a week for 40 weeks. Man, that's admirable. Like keep grinding. Like if you need to grind out the cash flow for a certain time to pour in to investments that will then work for you, that's the move. You know what you're doing. I hope you know what you're doing. Sounds like you know what you're doing. You have to be glued to your computer or you'll miss the next sacrifice. I feel you. I feel you. Oh shoot. Oh my bad. There was what happened to my screen? Oh, that was weird. Yeah, I just saw someone say that the white screen was blinding their eyes. My bad. Cool to see you back online. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, good to be back. Good to be back. I'm getting roasted. I only see this white screen next to you. It's blinding my eyes. Is this the cover to the Beatles' White Album? Nice. Yo, the mother fucking goat says dripping so pretty. Yo, you guys need to go stream that new I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. You guys need to go stream Drippin's new music. And I'm gonna go see you in concert, by the way. I'm not gonna say the date because there are some smart hexkins that could like figure out exactly when and where, and I like to travel anon. But here, let me share this real quick. How do you get the link? Share, copy, boom. You guys need to go stream music video on the whole album, basically on Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you want. Who roasting Gerardo? I'll whoop him. No. It was just because I had a white screen. I didn't realize. Like my screen just went white. Good to see you back, young fella. Shield looks great in the background. Am I participating in the fitness challenge in any way? Yeah, so first of all, thank you. Shield does look good in the background. I agree. And I have a couple more that I want to show you guys. I'll probably pull them up. But am I participating in the fitness challenge in any way? Yo, I've been participating in my own fitness challenge for the past 10 years, man. Like, it's amazing if you need that kind of community to either guide you, to motivate you, to hold you accountable, to get the fitness in. That's what that's for, and that's amazing, right? Personally, man, I get that a little bit with a few workout buddies that I have, but even if I don't work out with them, just working out alone is such like it's such a calming vibe for me because I know what I'm doing at this point, so I can just zone out, focus on what I know I need to do. Like there's a set plan, and you just do it. You just execute. Like there's zero ambiguity in working out, and you can't say that about pretty much the rest of life. For the most part, there's zero ambiguity in just a workout plan when you go in there. So to directly answer your question, not directly. I'm not directly participating in the fitness challenge, but I am on my fitness game on point. Been doing cardio on the stairs 40 to 50 minutes, like 6 days a week. Weight training, right? Resistance training 3 days a week. And just trying to walk and eat healthy, man. Drink a lot of water, 1 or 2 of these a day. And that's what it is. Like that's important. Honestly, that's a huge reason I don't stream all the time. Is I'm focused on the health, focused on the wealth, focused on love, and then I'm focused on the impact. Like that's the cherry on top, because if one's cup doesn't run over, they can't give as much to the rest of the world, if you know what I mean. But I'm back. We're better than ever, and we're knocking out the stream. And I am so behind on things I need to update you guys on. So we'll get right to it. Always fun watching. Thank you for being here. Yeah, exactly. The Fed, interest rates, it all matters. Exactly. Says Russ, it's true when interest rates rise, stocks fall, and all capital asset chases yield, therefore correlation. Boom. If you want a shield, use GRC50. Yep, on shieldmasters.com. There you go. That's the code I use. GRC is awesome. He makes live stream. He does live stream every single morning. So you guys need to check that out too. I watch him very often, actually. 11 a.m. EST, 8 a.m. PST. Yeah, so let me pull up the shield actually, if you guys want. Should I bring the shield up here? I have that one and two other ones. So I have 3 total, and I can pull them up, show you guys better resolution. But let's get to the chart. What happened with my chart, man? Oh, boom. Okay, I wanted to get to. Okay, so we touched on Bitcoin, we touched on Ethereum, awesome. But Hex is obviously something we care about a lot here on this channel. I wanted to point out something quite interesting here, where if you notice, Bitcoin ran up from its March 2020 capitulation of about $3,000. And this isn't to scale, by the way. And these don't include wicks. This is the weekly time frame. So Bitcoin is the orange curve, Ethereum is the blue curve, Hex is the pink curve. So we see that March 2020, Bitcoin capitulated to like $4,000. Then it ran up all the way to 65K, right? The next April. And when Coinbase launched their stock, their IPO, they, that signified the top of the crypto market for the most part, right? That was the peak of most metrics, including, prices for the most part, because you did have higher highs in November, but all other metrics were down. So we have a lot of people do agree, right? Like, I know a lot of smart people who agree generally that this April 2021 was for the most part the top in crypto, right? And so you have this effect where Bitcoin ran up to 65K, April 15th or so was its peak, and then 27 days later, I think it was April 15th. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then 27 days later, Ethereum ran up and had its local peak. And so it's this interesting effect where while Bitcoin is kind of, finishing off its run, Ethereum's slightly behind and finishing off its run a little later, and then it finishes off its run. So again, you had this Ethereum peak 27 days after the Bitcoin peak. And then look at Hex. Hex just kept running, man. It didn't just do 27 days after the Ethereum peak, right? Ethereum hit about 5K or so, or 4,000 something in May. And Hex just kept going until September, man. And then it had its local peak. So that just gives me this, right? I'm sure you could find some charts where you find the full spectrum of offsetness, if that makes sense. So and that basically is showing you where the money is flowing, right? In what order. So it goes from Bitcoin to whatever had its peak next, most likely to whatever had its peak next. But you see that Hex was kind of the last one to have its peak, which is interesting to me because it shows, right? You can see it was a much greater offset from May, say roughly early May to mid-September. That's what it kept running for 4 months or so. So, and it had its peak while, this is interesting too, Hex had its peak while Bitcoin was having its dead cat bounce. Because I would argue this move from 2021 Bitcoin summer lows up to 69K, that was a dead cat bounce because the RSI was basically having a bearish divergence at the time. All other metrics were down, volume was lower, everything was basically lower, right? You had a bearish divergences everywhere on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And while they were having their dead cat bounces, is when you see their macro dead cat bounces, that's when you see Hex have its actual peak. So that kind of cycle dynamic just really, really fascinated me because you obviously have this lack of correlation for a certain time because liquidity moves around from ETH to USDC. But for the most part, you still have correlation via just human psychology, right? It is my theory, I would argue. Right? Because why else would we have had this Hex bear market correlated to, the rest of these bear markets? Just my opinion. I do think they're correlated. And it depends what time frame you're looking at. Like, are they correlated on a 1 month time frame, on a yearly time? Like, so it's all nuanced. But yeah, here we have the Hex chart. We haven't touched on it in a minute. Last time we looked at it, I was talking about it over here in early May, where we were trying to get above our bullish ribbon, which is our 20-week MA, 21-week EMA, but we didn't really get above it. We actually had a bearish candle, right? Even though it was green, we had a long wick to the upside, which isn't necessarily good to see. And the body closed beneath, right sandwiched in between both of these moving averages. So very similar to like over here prior to the Pulsex, or going into the Pulsex sacrifice phase in late December of last year. You see resistance here at the purple curve. You see resistance actually started playing out at the purple curve after we crashed from 50 cents down to about 18 cents, or lower actually, to about 16, about 14 cents. And sure, price pumped back up, wicked all the way up here, but the candle didn't get beneath both of these moving averages simultaneously. Neither did it here the second time in December. We see resistance. Again, we can get in between these moving averages, but we hold resistance on them, or in the space between them. Once again, here we didn't even reach it. Here we did crash beneath it. And where is that now? It's at about 14 cents, 14 and a half cents. So, I mean, we can have a bounce, right? Bounces are legal. We've already had a bounce from 3.6 cents all the way to 8.5 cents. Yeah, this was a brutal dip. So last time I covered price, we were around over here. And look, we didn't actually get above, right? We didn't get above our bullish ribbon, which is an indicator. We actually got a red candle, and then another red candle, and this final capitulation candle. I like the long wick on it because we haven't had a lot of candles like that on the hex price. The few times we've had, they've been followed by huge run-ups. March 2020, huge wicks to the downside. Where else? Here, November 2020, big payday capitulation, down, long wick to the downside. You have this long wick to the downside here. July 2021, pulse sacrifice. We proceeded to run up a nice 7x or so, or 5x, depending on choose candles or wicks. And so this long wick says, all right, well, could we run 200x? I mean, that's a lot, right? But it's done it before. Over here, it ran up, 40x. Over here, it ran up, like I said, 7x, the most recent 5 to 7x. So that 14.5 cent mark, I think, is in the cards, because from the very, very bottom, that would be about a 4x, and it would put us back testing our bullish ribbon. And again, it doesn't even mean we need to break it. We could come back above it and get rejected again. We don't know. But at least coming down to test it would be nice, right? And you see, I think stock bouncing, Bitcoin bouncing a little bit, Ethereum bouncing a little bit. Everything's bouncing a little bit, but who knows? This could still be a dead cat bounce. So keep your eyes peeled. And we don't have to go to this now, right? We could go sideways, and this moving average could catch up to us as well, right? If we just go sideways, it would catch up faster. So, do something like this. And maybe it'd be easier to break above it, but nonetheless, we still have to see it break above it. So there are an infinite number of ways this could play out. But yeah, just wanted to kind of update you guys on that last part. If you zoom in on like the 5-day, that looks super nice. This is a super bullish candle. 5-day chart looks really nice. Reduce moving averages. I mean, I know Hex is not as mature of a market as something like Bitcoin, but it is coming up on the 3-year mark. So at some point, you do have to say, okay, Hex is relatively mature market, a relatively mature market. What I found interesting is when it dipped beneath its 100-week moving average, it crashed about 67% or so. So that's similar to like what Ethereum did back. Showed you, where was it? Around over here, right? Where Ethereum, when it first crashed beneath its 100-week MA, it crashed about 75%. So Hex, beneath its 100-week MA, excuse me, I can never find these, excuse me, data price range. It's harder on stream too. Let me grab the magnet tool. 64%, right? Down to 3.5 cents, but we don't have ICOs dumping a bunch of Hex, but it is lower liquidity than Ethereum, I think, was at the time. I actually don't know for sure. But if it were to dip 75%, then we're talking from there, it'd be 2.5 cents, which would correspond to a 95% dip. But I mean, you can't hope for that because we already dipped pretty dang close. We're already at a 93% dip if you just do it from this data. But if you actually say 56 cents was a top, which I believe it was on Uniswap V2, and you're looking at, we're at a 93.5% dip. So can crypto dip more than 93%? Sure. I mean, Ethereum dipped 95. We have other altcoins like ADA. I think last cycle it dipped 98%. So these things can dip a lot. But hey, 93%, this is the longest, most violent dip Hex has ever had. Some people see that as opportunity. Some people see it as opportunity to buy. Others see it as opportunity to hate on Twitter. I mean, we're all built different, right? Let's get into some LookIntoHex charts real quick and then some Mintra stuff. But let me get to the chat first. I think I saw some super chats. I want to thank King Gubby Designs. Didn't mean to leave you hanging. King Gubby just want to say we're always stoked on your analysis video. Then shows his website. Okay. Thanks, man, for the analysis. Kudos. What's good? Bring out the exclusive shield. All right, we'll do. Offsetness, I know what you mean. Yeah. Thoughts on crypto coffee plus MA's astronomy for TA? Oh, I saw some of that. I thought it was a little silly. Very nice chart. Very telling. So am I saying Hex bottoms after BTC? I don't know, man. I really don't. Like, I don't know. Because I'm only talking about, right, we haven't seen what Hex does at like the end of a bear cycle. Because I would argue Bitcoin had the end of its bear cycle December 2018. If you guys remember, it had its I mean, I could just show you, I guess. So I'm just drawing it out with my finger here on the screen. I can just show you. I'm talking about this right here, where Bitcoin hit 20K Christmas, formed its lower highs, and it had its fake floor, and then it had its trap door down to 3K, right? I would argue this was the bottom of the bear market. This was the end of the bear market, right? I would say this cycle, so to speak, started here. And Hex didn't launch until roughly around here. So what I'm saying is we haven't seen how Hex performs during this part of a Bitcoin cycle, or that part of an Ethereum cycle, top to bottom. We haven't seen that because Hex launched over here. So we've seen what it does kind of like starting at a macro wave 2, I guess you could say, if you want to call this whole Bitcoin move like a 5-wave move, I guess. Right, so we've seen Hex like at the beginning, kind of roughly slightly late to the beginning of a bull market. That's when we see Hex exist. But we've never seen Hex during this to kind of gauge timing on it. So I mean, you could use some simple logic and say, well, based on what I said here, right? If Hex tops after, maybe it bottoms after, maybe. But I mean, actually, maybe, yeah, right? Who knows, man? Like, this is all speculation. It's really, really hard to tell. But I want to get into ROI from launch. Let's see. Where are we? I don't know if you guys saw, I added a couple. I added Hedron and Maxi here on ROI from launch. They're way down here, so you can barely tell, but you know what? There's stuff built around Hex. So I thought that should be a good proxy, right, for adding coins to this chart. And I'm not going to gatekeep, so we include BNB too, right? Because it actually has a killer chart where it's on track with Bitcoin, right? At day around 1800. That's pretty good. So we'll leave it on here because it's just kind of more proof to what crypto can do in general, what Hex can do, what all these coins can do. You know, it's not our crypto against their crypto. It's really crypto against the powers that be, if you know what I'm saying. But let's look at these charts. Let's get rid of some noise here because I want to show you that I included the Hex share ROI as well. So you can see where we've dipped beneath the blue curve, which was Bitcoin around this time, beneath Ethereum around this time. So we've seen this. You know, Hex was underperforming both Ethereum and Bitcoin for its first 60 days. And then it was overperforming both. And then it came back down and basically parity on ROI with ETH, underperforming Bitcoin, overperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now it's underperforming both. So it's going on these, I don't want to say cycles because these aren't actually synchronized in time. These are normalized to start at each respective launch, which are different dates, like 2019, 2015, and like 2000. 2011, I think, when I have the earliest data for Bitcoin. I like to keep you updated on this chart to show you that, you know, we are on track. We are on track to, on the macro scale, right? Because this is just volatility, guys. That's the price you pay for 6.9 million X gains. Like, I don't know if you just think you deserve 6.9 million X gains without having to wait, without having to endure, without having to like sit through these bear markets. Like, it's crypto for you. Just learn the rules and you'll do okay. Yeah, you also see Hedron and Maxi on here. They're not doing so hot, but hey, it's okay. ROI on Hex wasn't either at the beginning, so we'll give them a chance. They're built around Hex and they're pretty cool. Actually, they're not doing so bad. We actually added running ROI. I don't know if you guys saw that, but running ROI just shows you kind of, you can call it running ROI, rolling ROI, whatever you want to call it. Basically says at any given moment in time, look back a month. If you had bought, are you profitable and by how much, or negative and by how much, or 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And those are the time frames we have here on this chart. So if you go very, very to the right now, you can see if you'd bought just a month ago, you're down, about 52% because you're at 48.4% of your initial investment. So you just subtract 1 from it. So you're down 52%. If you bought 6 months ago, you're down about 50% as well. So if you bought in the last 6 months, you're pretty much down. If you bought in the last, right? If you bought, excuse me, not in the last. If you bought exactly a month ago, you're down roughly 50%. If you bought exactly 6 months ago, you're down roughly 50%. If you bought exactly a year ago, you're up about 60%. And if you bought exactly 2 years ago, you're up about 1,800%. And so these are numbers that the legacy guys like to look at. Like if you had bought exactly this time a year ago, which is the pink curve, you're up right now. And you can't say the same for a lot of cryptocurrencies. Right? We did actually reach 1.054, which is break even for like a day at the very, very bottom. Interesting. But other than that, we're still positive on the yearly running ROI. Very interesting. Again, this hides a lot of data because even though we're only at 17x on the 2-year running ROI, you see over here, right? There was like, here's the 4,000x hiding on day 715 because that was the top, right? And if someone locked in their gains there, that's kind of hidden in this chart. So I guess you'd want to see these other charts for that. But what else? Did we add anything else? No, we didn't add it there. Let's see our liquidity dashboard. We're actually going to make some updates to it soon. It'll look nicer. All right, we're just making things better around here. But we have our token pairs, our distribution across different dexes, bid and ask. Bid is sitting quite nice. Yeah, pretty interesting. About $16 million of bid side liquidity in the form of roughly $1 million on ETH, USDC and ETH, or $1 million on V2, USDC and ETH. And on B3, you have the remainder, the $15 million in the form of USDC, ETH, Hedron, etc. I'm going to add Maxi on here as well because it actually has like $1 million of Hex liquidity, which is a good amount, right? What's a million over what? Like 25? It's like 4%. Yeah, so that, it'll go on the pie chart. What can we say about that? Yeah, play with the liquidity calculator if you like. It pretty much says, look, if you were to adjust the bid side, because we pull directly from the pools every 5 minutes. So this is like a real-time calculator. If you were to, distribute across all liquidity, which is basically use like a matcha or a 1-inch, then yeah, I should have actually said that. I don't think I ever said that. This liquidity calculator distributes across all V2 and V3 liquidity. So it kind of acts like a 1-inch. It doesn't actually buy for you, or it acts like a matcha XYZ, but it doesn't actually buy for you. It's the calculator. So let's say if you want to put in, what is $100,000 buy pressure due to the market right now? Pumps it by 2%. Interesting, right? Very interesting. What about $1 million? 23% pump. Okay, what about $10 million? Okay, that we go back to 37 cents. So I saw some rumors on Twitter. I think $15 million takes us back to all-time highs. Yeah, 60 cents. There you go. $15 million. I think right now it's only $14 million. That takes us to 55 cents. And I say only, but that's not a lot of money in crypto, guys. And this shows you, it even shows you slippage here. This is such a cool calculator, right? $14 million would get you how much hex? 65 million hex roughly. So what is that? You basically paid like 25 to 30 cents per hex. That's what people don't really get about slippage. Like, sure, you're pushing the price against yourself, but if the market moves with you, you're good, right? Like, you'll obviously have slippage, and it'd be a miracle if if market went with you and then added liquidity. It's like, oh, all right, awesome. But for the most part, like, if the market goes with you, even if liquidity stays the same, and a whale had entered and incurred a lot of slippage, then dumped after, they could still dump at a profit. It wouldn't be as much of a profit as it might seem because you'd have wicks on the chart. And again, the slippage here is you can see it clearly that they got their coins for roughly 25, 30 cents. So even if the market went with them and ran it up to $1 and then he dumped it on similar liquidity, it would just be a wick, right? And then price would go down a lot. And might dump it back down similar to where he left it. Or a little higher potentially, right? But I mean, that's just how markets work. Whales play a different game because of this type of slippage. $14 million buy. They want more hex. They don't want to be the ones to pump the price. They want someone else to pump the price. So they might set limit orders. That's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. Let me get back to the chat real quick, drink some water, and I'll get into a little more. Been a hot minute for this channel. Yeah, let's bring it back to life, man. Yeah, timing the market is impossible. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Salman. Hey, how to get the text chart from its inception? My chart only shows limited amount of data. Go to uniswap.vision and go to the Hex USDC V1 chart. I'll drop it in the chat for you. All right, I just dropped the link in the chat for you, Salman. Let's back to the chat. Hope ETH hits 800 bucks. Might be tempted to buy some at 800 bucks. Hex bottom? I hope so. ETH to 420, nice. Am I not worried that Hex adoption is currently slower than ETH adoption? I mean, just this. No, I'm not, because it's in the same way it's a leverage play on price. I feel like it's this leverage play on adoption because of the fee market. It's destroying the Hex use case. So like, yeah, if the fees get crap, everything on ETH is gonna feel that. Pulsechain solves this. Kind of the point. Yeah, these pies don't show Hex maxi pool. We're adding it as we speak. I hope my developer's working. It's morning time for him. Hope he's working. I'll message him after the stream. So like nighttime and early morning is when I talk to my devs for the most part, because that's when it's the opposite for them. So if I'm going to sleep, if it's, I'll stay up late sometimes, talk to them, because it's kind of set them up for the day, and I can go to sleep knowing I set them up. I wake up and they basically worked all day, and I know what they've done, and I can kind of check in with them in the morning. And the kind of later I stay up setting them up for the day, and the earlier I wake up to kind of review their evening, it provides a little pressure to wake up early, but I do stay up a little late. I mean, it's a decent trade-off. It's all right. But yeah, we'll add the Hex maxi pools. I mean, if you saw that wick on 3.5 cents, that went straight back to like 6 cents. That was a lot of buy pressure there. So everyone like hoping for 2 cents or 1 cent. We already had a 93%. I mean, sure, we could go there, but wouldn't count on it. Let's see, if no one else moves, yeah, you're the only difference remaining in price. If you're the only one who sold, what else cares how much feedback is? Yeah, if you're the only player, then even though you're a whale, you can't get free profit. Basically, even whales can't get free profit is kind of the point of the whole rant I was making. I mean, yeah, of course slippage affects impermanent loss because slippage is just price changes, you know, which would change the ratio of all the LPs. Too bad people piled on Rackham. You'd give us. I mean, yeah, people get angry and they do dumb stuff, and I'm not excusing it at all. I agree 100%. People should. How do I word this? Because starting a sentence with people should, you're asking for trouble. So let me think about what I'm going to say before I say it. And that, my friends, thinking about what you say before you're going to say it, understanding the nuances of people's lives, of situations, of words, like just understanding, acknowledging, appreciating nuance in life will save you from a lot of trouble. That's all I'm going to say. So just think before you speak. Yeah, I have no I have no animosity or any ill will towards anyone really. Like, why would I sacrifice my peace of mind for that? So the only interact. See, mm, I'll leave it at that, man. And we got some people commenting. Limit orders are clutch. Yeah, I agree. Astro says anyone in Hex with enough competence to do your own research should be using DeFi and layer twos, getting airdrops and bringing that capital back to Hex. Well, I played around with a bunch of layer twos, lost a few tens of dollars, maybe even like $100 in gas, maybe a little more. I haven't gotten any airdrop, man. Like, I don't want to name the ones I tried, but like, there's some pretty like well-known named ones that all the ETH boys are mentioning, and like, sure. I mean, I got a decent amount of airdrops. I didn't get them all. I didn't crush it in airdrop land. I feel like there were some that were kind of obvious in retrospect that I probably could have gotten, but yeah, uni. Obviously, I got uni. I got the I got like 1 inch or something ridiculous. But see, like 1 inch was the obvious one because I'd heard about it a lot. Tornado was the obvious one. I think I missed out on both of those. Gitcoin, I wasn't gonna get that one probably. I'm not really in those kind of dev environments. I got Pulse Doge, obviously. Pulse Doge coin. Got Hedron. Right, those are airdropped to me for free. Yeah, I'll take free coins. Wise words, Gerardo. Thanks, Valiant Brand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, life teaches you these things, brother. You know. Yeah, chasing airdrops is a fool's game. Lotto at best. I've gotten some great airdrops. I mean, to each their own. Like, if you can afford a few $100 and you think the risk reward is good, some of these airdrops are 1,000 or so bucks. So as long as you run the math and maybe do it in like low fee times, like sure knocks them out, but like constantly daily chasing them, you start getting into like okay contract risk, like slow down there. But you already TA on Hex. I think I already talked about the Hex chart a little bit. I mean, we're all looking at the same chart, man. Like it dipped down to 3.5 cents. long ass wick. I mean, that's the most TA I did on the chart really earlier, was saying we've only seen a few wicks like this, like March 2020 capitulation, big payday capitulation, and now. Not to say it can't continue, but that was a long wick, man. It went to 3.5 cents. We're at 8.2 now. That's like, I don't know. Remember when Bitcoin went to 3K, 4K, jumps back up to 8K? Did it go back there? Depending on what point of the chart you're looking at, yeah, it went back there. You know, for kind of a double bottom end of cycle scenario, end of bear. But I don't know. Hard to tell. Kind of want to see the kind of the rest of the month play out, the rest of crypto, rest of stocks. Sadly, you know, kind of the rest of geopolitics. Like I don't like to have to care about that, but you're kind of forced to when you're in these markets a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what the Fed meeting mid-June happen, like what the results are from there. Might affect things. I mean, the last meeting kind of affected the markets. Everything else kind of crashed and made lower lows after that. So maybe we'll watch out for that. Or yeah, just listen to Brand. He's the man. Best guess on Pulsechain launch. Does it really need to be perfect? I mean, you want it to be great, right? You want it to be amazing. You want it to live up to your standards. And if you have high standards and you find a consensus bug that, albeit not critical, is, you know, has the potential to stall the network if found, why would you not want to cover all known vulnerabilities? Right? That would be a good dev team, is patching all known vulnerabilities. And they have some of those. So from the information I got just from Richard's streams, he was saying how his best dev, you know, found some stuff in the consensus code. So it's like, all right, sounds like he's getting his best dev looking through stuff that maybe the best dev hadn't written, right? So yeah, sure, get the best dude to review everything. I'd do that myself if I were launching a new L1 to hundreds of thousands of people waiting for it. Because you don't want that reputation of, oh, look, Pulsechain stalled out, and then all of our tweets dunking on Solana when they stall out and they pause, and all the memes, right, of, you know, Solana stands for the sun because it, you know, goes down once a day. You don't want, you just don't want that, man. Like I don't want that. I want Pulsechain uptime to be high, approaching 99.999%, right? 100%. Because even on Ethereum, you have Infura go down sometimes. You're like, oh, if you don't know how to point to other RPC URLs, you're like, well. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I agree. You do want to operate under the Pareto principle, which is like, if it's good enough, like there is a point where something is good enough. But if you have known vulnerabilities, like knock them out, right? Knock them out. Bitcoin wasn't perfect. It forked over 20 times. I get it, but you don't just because something's crap and it's the precedent, you know, it's what people have done before, it's what's been done, doesn't mean you have to keep doing that. It's like saying like, oh yeah, Fords are crap, they always stall out. Like it's fine, just launch the crap car. No, no, launch the Tesla Roadster. Like take your time. Like make it the best thing out there. It's fine. Like the only people who are very, very impatient are, I'm not going to say I don't want it to launch. I'd love for it to launch. I'm just saying I'm not knocking on Richard's, you know, Twitter door asking when launch, sir. It's just software to, I mean, I run a dev team myself. Like I help operate and run a whole team of devs for multiple projects, right? I have devs for LookIntoHex, I have devs for Mintra, I have a dev team, or I have a devs for making a new website, right? For my personal brand, just for me, right? To promote myself and everything I do, right? All my links, for example. Way better than a link tree, just have your own site. Effectively the same, but it's just better. So yeah, I understand that you have revisions, you want to make things perfect. You're like you catch things you hadn't caught before, and you want things to be good, man. Especially if it's something you've taken so long to build. Like, might as well. What's another month? We've already waited almost a year. Ah, yes, yes. We will get to this shortly. All right, so what do I want to touch on? This is the shares page on LookIntoHex. Added this chart right here. I wanted to point this out where we have, this was inspired by Will's only, by the way, shout out to you. Where we have T-share per Bitcoin, T-share per Ethereum, and you just get a nice ratio to see that, you know, T-share is about 91.2% of Ethereum, so almost one. This pink curve over here. And it's about 6% of a Bitcoin. It's pretty cool. So hopefully at some point, I mean, T-share per ETH is already around 1, which is nice, but hopefully at some point T-share per Bitcoin reaches 1. At that point, T-share per ETH would probably be like, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, depending on the ratio. But that'd be really cool to see. I think it's just cool to keep track over time. Added a 365-day moving average per daily payout per T-share. Just because if you're talking about APY, I realized you want to use like 365 a yearly. Basically, we're talking about APY, annual percentage yield. So every year, I think you'd want a yearly moving average to see, okay, 6.08 hex per day for your calculations if you're trying to do your stakes, right? To kind of project out yield, which it's impossible, obviously, because there's dynamic penalty interactions and all that. But for the most part, it's roughly predictable. And we have our staking participation and our nice 40% APY for max length stakers. What else? Oh, I did want to touch on this because, okay. I hired an analyst to help me with the curves, right? However, they only fitted up to like early May data. I gave my website developer these equations for the chart, and the thing is, he published them a little prematurely. So out of all of this, what resulted is that he's building we should have done this ages ago, to be completely honest. He's building a dev environment so I can actually see, I know this is obvious, but so I can see charts before he actually publishes them, just in case they have any errors or in case I want to hold off on something or whatnot. Like, this isn't actually ready. I still need a summary for it. We still need standard deviation bands. We need to refit to these recent lows because more data leads to better models, and you want your extrema. For those of you who don't know what that is, in math terms, that's just like your local lows, your local highs. Like, that's precious data when it comes to these kinds of models. So you can't just not fit it to this recent data, right? That's just my take. That's just my take. Because the more macro cycles you have, like these bear cycles we've seen on Hex, well, the better idea you get of, where the next cycle will play out. So it's kind of common sense. And I've had the argument of, well, if you just keep refitting them, doesn't it lose its significance? Well, I never argued they had any predictive power in the first place. Like, I do this just for the intellectual entertainment of finding the freaking logarithmic regression equations for the Hex price chart. Like, that's fun to me. But no, I mean, it's, even though it hasn't been refit necessarily, it's not holding up too bad. Like, what's it at right now? Roughly 8.5 cents is where the lower band is, and we're at around 8 cents. So I do think once we refit it, potentially this pink curve might come hug this peak data a little bit better. Maybe this red curve hugs this a little bit better. So just kind of bend it slightly. But again, I want to hold off until we actually have a definitive kind of market bottom structure, because that's when we have more data. That's when we kind of more certainly know that it was bottom. You could argue all day long that it was the bottom, but if a new bottom comes in, then you're going to refit the data again. So, I mean, it's a work in progress. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on this. Just wanted to give you guys that kind of a heads up, because there has been, like, I think Eric Wall actually tweeted out my regression rainbow on Twitter, and it's like, of course, this was a situation playing out. Of course. All got to get your content again. Thanks, G-Dog. Hey, my pleasure. It's fun to be back. Wag me. Let's go. Yeah. Thanks for explaining how the updated data relates to published charts. My pleasure. They're appreciated. My pleasure. Yeah, a lot of people over-sacrifice for Pulse and Pulsex. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to be over-leveraged in something like some people did sacrifice too much. Yeah. Quality work, bro. Thank you. Do what you think is right. We trust you. Thank you, bro. Wait, Eric Wall tweeted Regression Rainbow. Yeah, he was dunking on it. He was like, it broke beneath. It's over. Hex is done. And I was like, oh my God. Like, this model wasn't supposed to be seen by anyone right now yet. It's not done. It's literally not even done. Like, there's not even a summary on the page. Like, bro. And user blocked. All right. What else? Oh yeah, we have to talk about Mintra. What the heck? There's a ton of updates there. All right. So for those of you who were here about Bitcoin, about Ethereum, about Hex, beautiful, amazing. I love you guys. If you're here for Mintra as well, feel free to stay. Actually, before I talk about Mintra, let me show you guys my shields. If you guys are down. Here. Shout out to GRC Crypto, or what's the name? Gerardo Crypto, GRC. GRC50 on shieldmasters.com. It's shield and then masters with a Z. The guy designed is so cool. I love the matte black finish on this. It's so badass. No, yeah, I think this one's my favorite, honestly, because of the matte black finish. But so we have the Hex one. This one kind of gives a little bit of a reflection, so I'm gonna hold a little back here. But yeah, this one's pretty badass too. Obviously, Hex. Go freaking Hex. And then the last one over here. Now you guys can see it. Got Mintra, baby. Let's go. So this is the one we're going to talk about right now. Right? How about this one? The only reason I didn't get the Pulse Shield is because it was like a different shape. I kind of like the circle one a little more. So I might design one of those. And I might even get a LookIntoHex shield. Man, yeah, just supporting where I can, but just want to show you guys the shields. I want one. Yeah. Children of the Grave is showing the link. There it is. Looks fire. That's sweet. Right on. Soon, please don't sell out. That convinced me. Oh man. Well, I hope I brought those guys some sales, but yeah, only if you can afford to, right? Like they are a little on the pricier side. So if it's the option between that or averaging into crypto, average into crypto. But if it's the option between this and getting the new Louis Vuitton freaking, Discovery backpack, maybe you want to get one of these. Just saying. But get a Regression Rainbow Shield. I mean, it has to be a refit though. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Mintra. We redeployed the coin, right? Because okay, what is Mintra, right? You guys know it's going to be the greenest NFT marketplace. And Russ says, "I love you." Thanks, bro. But so we already know what Mintra is, right? It's going to be an NFT marketplace on Pulsechain, the premier NFT marketplace on Pulsechain, and it has staking, it has burning. It's cool. You can trade it on Pulsex. Awesome. Now, we've had the staking page for a while. It's all fine and dandy. Again, we redeployed the coin so that it's burnable, and so we can include the burn page and the burn functions. And again, the only reason that average APY is so low right now is because previously we were feeding Pulse manually into this one address that was distributing it. because we don't have the marketplace app ready, but I'm going to show you a mock-up of the marketplace, because as a whole, the Mintra stack is 3 parts. It's the marketplace, the staking app, and the coin. And so the staking app is done. The coin is done. We're working on the marketplace now. That's our full focus, 100% UI and backend, right? And so I want to show you guys a teaser, but you guys need to understand that, right? For this APY to actually reflect potentially, a testnet real life numbers, the marketplace app would need to be live and interacted with the community, right? Because then you'd actually have the connection between where the fee revenue comes from, right? For the stakers, there it is. So the burn page, right? We have a burn page. This, again, it's going to be more active once you'll see more data, more histograms once the actual marketplace is live. But you can start seeing a general idea where the burn page will show you how much mint was burned from launch, USD value of that mint that was burned from launch, total supply, a chart of the total supply, which will be going down over time because this coin will have a fixed supply to start and will only be burned through buy and burn. The amount of pulse sitting in the burn pool or fee2 address, whatever you want to call it, available to burn mint. This will be a publicly callable function, right? So let's say there's, a million pulse here, it'll show here in the fee2 address, and you can go ahead and burn it, right? And it'll show you how much mint that'll buy up and burn. So that's really cool. In my opinion, this shows you kind of the mint burned over time in both USD value and in its just unit value. Very, very cool. And we'll probably be able to change here from daily, weekly, monthly, etc. So that's all awesome, right? So this is relatively new because you guys already knew we had the staking app live. We also have the coin live on Pulsex. You can trade it here, just add liquidity or buy on Pulsex. Here it is, right? And you guys will notice it's T-mint because, again, we redeployed it and wanted to make it distinguishable. But there it is, right? And it was airdropped to all the sacrificers as well, all the balances. So you guys have that. The contract address is on our Twitter. So you can add it to your MetaMask correctly, Mintra.io Twitter. But let me show you guys the teaser of the actual marketplace itself. This is our Figma file with our dev. So this is the first time I've actually shared this. Yeah, let's see if you guys can see it. Why is Mintra over other marketplaces? We have a rabid community. People like 3,000 members, or 3,000 unique addresses sacrificed over $10 million for a green sustainable future for blockchains. God will sacrifice. So we have a benevolent, someone who's proved to be a benevolent whale in the system. We have, Pulsex style buy and burn with a mint token. You have, what else? Competitive fees. You have staking to be able to earn Pulse. So similar to like Looks Rare. I don't know if other coins have this. I mean, I feel like our social metrics, our game theory metrics are just, everything is just winning. So I feel like Mintra is positioned to just dominate in terms of NFT marketplace market share on Pulsechain. I don't know. Correct me if you think I'm crazy, but yeah, there's going to be, let me read the chat real quick. Sacked or racked Mintra. Wish I would have done 3. Hey, man. Hope you do really, really, really well. And when it launches, maybe you can get more, right? I mean, not maybe. When it launches, yeah, liquidity pools might pop up on Pulsex. Who knows? It says, whoa, UI so clean. Pulsex sack got airdrop? No, Mintra sack got airdrop. It was a unique sack. It's exciting. Gerardo says value brand. Thank you, bro. So yeah, let me show you guys a little file design here of the greenest NFT marketplace. I mean, our devs do really good work at making sure it looks, in theme with our staking page, for example. Right? So in theme, you'll have your NFTs for sale, the amount here. your total volume going in through the day, which this is going to be a key metric for stakers, right? Mint stakers are going to love this metric right here, the 24-hour volume, because they know, like, let's say there are, I don't want to say a whale, let's say they have 1% of all the mint staked in this staking pool, right? Staked, they have 1% of all the mint. This 316 million mint staked. So let's say they have 3 million mint staked. Then they know they'll get 1% of all of this every day, right? Because they have 1% of the pool. And so they'll get 1% of, they'll get 1% of the fee, right? Of which goes to Pulse takers, which is 1%. So they'll get 1% of 1% of this per day. So what would that be? This divided by 10,000. It's like $3,700, almost $4,000 a day, right? If they have 3 million mint staked, it's pretty good. It's not bad. $3,000 a day just staking. And that's in the form of Pulse. So they don't even have to dump their mint. So mint, can arguably hold its value that way. Then you see your unique artists here. So I think this has some, you guys know I love this game theory, and now we're showing you guys the designs of what the actual marketplace is going to look like, because you guys have to understand that when it comes to marketplaces, it's not just like the staking app. It's not just like launching the PRC20, the coin, like we did. That stuff is done. It's easy. But the whole marketplace, you have the front end UI, right? You have the back end functionalities. You have every single sub page, right? You have dark mode, light mode. You have desktop. You have mobile, because mobile app is the next thing after we finish the 3-part stack. So the 3-part stack, like I mentioned for Mintra, is the coin, done, staking app, done, marketplace app, in progress. Once all that's done, it can be consolidated into a nice staking app for more onboarding. But yeah, so you have your dark mode, your light mode. You want mobile for every single page, right? Should I tease some other pages too? No, I think I'll leave it at that. But yeah, you want to save a little bit for next time. Get back to the chat. So, morning all. What's up, Red Squirrel? Access Alive is asking. I don't know if this is a real Access Alive. Is it? Is it possible for me to mint a PDF file into an NFT? I don't think so. So from what I've seen right now, I think the only supported files will be like your typical JPEG, PNG, .mp4, GIF, probably MP3 as well. Yeah, so I'm not sure if PDF, but I'll have to double check for you. We should stack more, get more when it launches. Nice. Price prediction for Pulsex and Pulse? I mean, I think they can do a few 100x in their first year. What they do from there, I mean, we'll see. Can they do 10,000x in a couple of years? Sure. Relatively low liquidity, yeah. Can they do it on like insane liquidity? Maybe not. It depends. Like maybe these coins pump on higher liquidity, so they don't pump as much. I don't know, but it's a win-win either way. I don't know. I think a few 100x within the first year is reasonable, right? Even if you want to be mega conservative, in my opinion, which is crazy to think in crypto to say something mega conservative is like 50x from the bottom in the first year. But if we have like a 95% dump, let's say, after launch, not saying we will, then a 50x from there really puts you at like a 5x from launch, 2 to 5x from launch. So depends if you catch the bottom, if it dips from launch. Like all this stuff is impossible to predict. We don't even have charts. So how can you predict something? You can't extrapolate on a chart that doesn't exist yet. So that's my rant. Nice job, bro. Looks amazing. Keep up the good work. Love the design. Very elegant. Thank you. Says KG. It's fucking amazing. Pulse Former. Excellent work. Wish I got it on the sack. Hey, man, there was a lot of skepticism. I mean, like, yo, you don't have a finished product. This is all promises. Like, what are you doing? Like, a lot of backlash when we launched this thing, when we launched the SAC, the idea, when I started making videos on it. But here we are, and you tough out the adversity, similar to Hex, and boom, you just prove, you just work, you build. Instead of getting on Twitter and stirring beef and making drama, I'm doing things. I mean, I'm not particularly building this. My dev is doing amazing work, but am I reviewing stuff with him? Am I giving him feedback on what exactly we want to see, like features, like requirements, etc. Thanks, girl. Off to bed. Hey, good night. Axis, peace. I'm low whale and Mintra top 100, baby. Let's go. Just dox yourself potentially. People could look. I mean, not really, because like that's 100 walls people would have to sift through. Nah, you're good, but I mean, whatever. Hey, good job, man. Spectral Mana, good to see you. For those of you who don't know, Spectral Mana does really cool VR art, and a lot of it is on her Twitter, and I believe we'll have some collection. I believe she'll have some collections launching exclusively on Mintra. That's right. So thanks for being here. Hope you can watch the replay if you just got here. I slept on it like an idiot. That's what I get. I'll have to buy from a sacrificer. I mean, that's how it be sometimes, but I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. Like, it's important to be skeptical, but just choose who you're skeptical on. Just gone to your stream. I'll go watch it. Right on. Yes, audio reactive VR art. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Kind of mind blowing to see, honestly. I think I follow you on Instagram as well. Yeah, very cool art. You guys should go check it out. Looks dope. Says level up on crypto. Yeah, I just wanted to share the little teaser marketplace with you guys. SAC on the first day. Nice. Ricken 305. Here, you know what? What you guys make me do. I'm gonna show you guys a little more. So this is what uploading your NFT is roughly gonna look like, right? You have your upload, your create, your discover, your stake tabs, where upload is basically uploading an NFT that you already have, right? And creating will be creating one within the site, basically uploading a file, right? And tokenizing it. So that's what this is. So you can either upload your NFT, you can explore or discover, whatever we're gonna call this. You can stake, it'll send you the staking dApp, or you can create one in here. So similar to OpenSea, you just upload your file here. Again, your max file size. This is open to review. You'll have your preview, just a few steps. You add your details and whatnot, your properties, little flag here. And yeah, name, description, category, collection, external IPFS link if you want. Choose which token type, NFT token type, add some properties, a little flag for explicit sensitive contents. Then your marketplace details here, right? If you're gonna have an instant sale, an auction, blah blah blah, unlockable content, and again denominated in wrapped pulse, just because wrapped pulse is more interoperable with smart contracts, similar to wrapped Ethereum. So I mean, yeah, guys. I mean, we're just working on every single page. Like, you guys have to realize every single page, every little click you do, every little like sub graphic, someone worked on that, right? So when you go through a nice website, like, I used to take a lot of that for granted, but now seeing all the little details, it's a lot of work, guys. And then obviously you have to integrate with actual functionalities, because it can look pretty and you have your UIs and everything, but unless you integrate with real functionality, what do you got, right? You just have a UI. So it's a lot of work. I mean, what I say about the back end, our dev team has source code for 2 separate marketplaces, actually. And so we're kind of getting the best of both of them, getting the functionalities required and desired from both of them, integrating them, consolidating them in a way to where it could be connected to this UI that we're building. And yeah, I don't want to give time estimates at all, but things are happening. Yeah, I'm excited too. Thanks, Andres. Hey, Gerardo, you're awesome. Any idea for someone that is new to NFTs to get some when Mintra launches? Are they ranked? Is there anyone that is more known than others? Thanks for all I sack no doubts. Right on. I mean, yeah, people will launch their NFTs and you can buy them. Yeah, or you can get your copies and you can upload them. Definitely appreciate it as a former UXer. Great work. Yeah, are you UI guys or UX guys or? Oh, did my battery die? Oh, I don't have external. Oh, I didn't connect it to external power. My bad. But yeah, guys, for now, yeah, appreciate it, Spectralana. Yeah, you guys will be able to see this one. It's live. We'll have you can have your featured collections, your live auctions, your featured artists, your top collections by actual volume. So which ones, ran up the most volume over the last month, last week, last 24 hours. Have a little drop down here. Personal galleries and whatnot. Very cool stuff, guys. Very, very cool stuff. Like, I'm excited for this. But yeah, I could stick around a bit if you guys don't mind the lack of camera. Sorry for that. Since I changed the camera angle, I forgot to connect it to external power. So let's see. Ran out of dry powder after the other phases. I'll buy on mainnet. Yeah, no worries. Any idea what tech stack my devs are using to build this? To build the UI itself, yes, they're using React. What happens to the ERC 721 copies? You have to wait for the creators to upload them to the marketplace. Yes. Yes, you do. All right. Does listing certain NFTs pay listers? Not necessarily, no. I mean, as long as only if they sell it, right? Thanks for the previews. Looks awesome. Well, yeah, guys, appreciate you guys.